All right. Hello, my beautiful lashies and fellow listeners. This is Catherine. I am the host of Live, Love, and Lash podcast. And today's episode is going to be a little different than what our usual topic is. And today's guest is Dr. Nicole Maddox, and she is going to introduce herself and describe a little bit about what she does. Say hi, Nicole.
Hi, as she said, I am Dr. Nicole Maddox. I got my education in chiropractic and sports medicine, and then quickly found my passion for functional medicine, longevity, epigenetics, and nutrigenomics, as well as spirituality.
That's awesome. And then you also are a somatic yoga instructor, right?
Yes, I have a lot of did like 20 plus years of fitness and instructing and training, and so yoga is one of those.
That's amazing. And so, for those of you who don't know, Nicole and I have partnered together and we have created a business called Kintsugi Catalyst. And Kintsugi Catalyst basically is a company that we are on a mission to heal the world. People have experienced so much trauma in their lives, and we are on a mission to help people really find themselves, find their higher being, and help them find their path. So, why don't you dive a little bit into why you decided to go that route?
Yeah, I my patients would come in as a chiropractor would expect with your standard low back headache. And then they wanted to know, well, why aren't they getting better? How come the problem keeps coming back? Why are they having difficulty sleeping? What's going on with my digestion? And so, as I started to dive into all the information and the research with it, it all led me down to nervous system regulation and inflammation. And then I started to get into the genetic aspect and how our nervous system is influenced by our gene expression, because our genes dictate how our body makes all the parts and pieces and how those parts and pieces work together and rejuvenate. And so, when I learned more about how we carry our issues in our tissues and how our body keeps a score, I learned about how the collagen moves energy through the body, and how physical injury, like car accidents or physical traumas and sports injuries, that tissue, that collagen can get bound up and that can cause reoccurring pain in those areas, and how you can relieve the stress of that by moving that energy through and kind of teaching the body how to calm itself. Our brain does a lot of stuff, but it also is really lazy and wants to do at least as possible as it can. So it recruits the spinal cord for a lot of habituation of things, kind of like an athlete or a person that has a repeated job. Or even you could say in some aspects it's kind of more subconscious of the brain, but you drive to work every day and then you're like, I don't even remember driving to work. Or you're an athlete and you don't even have to think about how you're going to respond to that. Your body just does it. When we have chronic trauma, our body keeps that same reflex pattern. And so that's why we need to look to the body to be able to move that energy through, help the nervous system heal, and give it an anchoring in our heart, in our intention, in our awareness, and that consistency so that we can create new neural pathways.
I love that. I love that. So, what kind of things can people do if they feel like they are potentially in a negative pattern? So, for example, if somebody is experiencing anxiety or depression, what kinds of things do you recommend?
I think it's always important to do a faceted approach, a comprehensive approach, meaning it's important to make sure we're doing our due diligence to do the testing and find out, is there something that our body is missing? For instance, there's a lot of research behind the MTHFR gene. And what that is, it's pretty much that our nervous system and our brain isn't able to break down the nutrition that's coming in into usable forms. And so our brain can get Like records can skip and it can create anxiety and depression and other personality disorders. And so looking at, is my brain able to process the nutrition it has? There is a neurolymphatic gut brain connection. So if your gut is inflamed, if you have a terrible diet, you're stressed out all the time, you're not giving your body real food, that is going to make the brain inflamed as well. We actually find gut bacteria residing in the brain. So if our gut isn't healthy, our brain isn't healthy. And then we also have our master relaxation nerve called the vagus nerve. And just like anything, the more we use it, the stronger it gets. So having that intentional polyvagal or vagus nerve type exercises in your practice on a daily basis, consistently over time, can really help strengthen that so that when we are forced with stressful situations that are out of our control, our nervous system can bring that strong vagus nerve as a response to help balance it.
Okay, so what kind of exercises would help that vagus nerve to relax and come back to homeostasis?
Yeah, so our vagus nerve is our 10th cranial nerve, and it leaves our brain and comes to down the sides of our neck, through our chest, and connects to all of our organs. And it loves vibration. So humming, singing, is great to help stimulate it. Our vagus nerve also loves the rhythm of deep belly breathing. So, getting that nice box belly breath, having that consistent diaphragmatic expansiveness helps kind of massage all of our organs. Every time our diaphragm rolls up and down, our organs are getting a little love rub by the diaphragm, and the vagus nerve loves that. It also really enjoys cold water. So you can take cold water and you can place it on your wrists, your throat, the back of your neck. You can take a cold shower. Um, and our vagus nerve loves movement. And so because our nervous system has pays a lot of attention to where our body is in space, because our brain is kind of locked in this black box, and the only way that it can know what's going on is based on how our senses are communicating with it. So if we're sitting too long in one place, our body starts to feel agitated and compressed. Getting up and moving, kind of like you see animals after a nap, they'll shake off after they're stretched, after they've rested, and that helps regulate the nervous system as well.
Nice. Okay. I was actually going to just ask what you would recommend for people who do live more of a sedentary lifestyle, because in the industry that I'm in with lash artists, we tend to sit all day, every day. And I know personally, my gut is a mess. And so I've noticed that when I do a lot more movement, I feel a lot better physically. My gut feels better,
Yeah.
and mentally, I feel better too.
Yeah, it only takes about 12 minutes a day, like of really active movement. Now, with that said, is that sustainable over time? No. But if you can get 12 minutes of your heart rate up, you're doing pretty good. But with that, again, said, is that every like 56 to 60 minutes is when we should stimulate our body and start moving. Um, so if you're able to, in between each one of your patient, how long does it take to do a set of lashes or a fill?
Each person's different. I take about 2 to 3 hours for a full set, and then my fills are about 90 minutes. Some people just whip them out really fast. They'll do like 45 minutes to an hour for a fill. Some people do like up to an hour and a half to 2 hours for a full set. So it just depends on how many lashes the person has and the speed and skill level of the artist and how consistent they are with doing lashes.
Would you have like 5 minutes in between each patient that you could do like a quick stretch or yoga or like muscle flexion or squat routine or shake off that you would be able to get your nervous system regulated in between each one?
In theory, yeah.
In theory, yeah. So it would just take intention and consistency. So yeah, if you're able to, like 12 minutes would be better to plug in there, but even if you had 5 minutes to plug into there, to just wiggle it loose. Just wiggle the body, shake the skin, jump up and down, do a few squats, just flexing your muscles, squeezing and relaxing. And that's another thing you can do if you're stuck is to flex your leg muscle and then relax it, and flex the other leg muscle and relax it. Flex one bicep and relax it. So that isometric, that exercise strengthening without movement really helps kind of, our muscles are like pumps. And so that can help stimulate the body and get it to feel a little bit better. But we're designed to move, and research has shown that sitting is worse than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day in the stress that it puts on the body. And so sometimes we have to just decide what we need to do, and then kind of structure our day around what is necessary for us, because if we're not taking care of us, then we can't take care of everyone around us. So there is some mindfulness, intentionality, and consistency and integrity with that practice as well.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that a lot. And I know that a lot of my will resonate with that too, because we oftentimes in the service industry tend to be more givers. We forget about ourselves as soon as we end the day. Then we go home, we take care of our kids, our family, our dogs. And then whatever's left, the last 5 minutes, we spend like, okay, I'm time to scroll on Facebook and then go to sleep.
Yeah, and that's most of my patient base are women in their late 30s and their early 40s, when they have neglected their body, and now their body is starting to attack itself. And now they have chronic autoimmune and chronic inflammatory and chronic pain issues. So yeah, sometimes we just have to eat our own words and make that conscious choice to put ourselves first, because we matter. And it's important that we show ourselves that with action.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. So I wanted to kind of take a piece that you talked about earlier about like fueling your body with the good things.
Hmm.
So over the last couple of months, I've been doing some research on nutrition and how there's actually a company that has a program where they do a genetic test and they'll actually send you like a little satchel filled with like micro nutrients. It's got like vitamins, minerals, metals, stuff like that, designed specifically for your biology,
Hmm.
which is different than if you were to go to like the doctor and take a blood test, because that tells you what your system is doing right then and there, which is good. It's definitely positive thing to have that done and get your numbers checked. But this actually has to do with like your DNA. So, like, my DNA is different than your DNA is different than the next person's DNA. So, for example, what you were saying earlier about like sometimes the body just doesn't absorb certain nutrients, well, that could also be because of their specific DNA, that it just doesn't absorb that particular type of, let's say, protein. So they actually cater to that specific DNA need. And they'll actually tell you, you should be eating these foods, you should avoid these foods, and you should either be eating like small meals a day and like snacking, or doing like maybe one or two big meals. So I thought that was kind of really cool. Do you mind jumping in on that and sharing your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do that with my epigenetics and nutrigenomics testing. There is more than that. You have to make sure that your body can actually absorb the nutrition. So if you have dysbiosis, if your gut bacteria is imbalanced, if you have a lot of stress in your environment, if your hormones are dysregulated, then your body will have a huge difficulty absorbing that nutrition. And then you also have to understand not every supplement is made the same, because they aren't super regulated. And so it's important to make sure you're looking at where that company is supplying their resources from. But
Mhm.
yes, I do that test on my patients, and I customize their lifestyle. I also help them make sure their gut is lining is healthy, and I also help them add the nervous system regulation and help them create the healthy lifestyles in that as well. So I think that that is a great product. But I also think that there are a lot of people that need prep for that. They have to make sure that their belly can break that down. And genetics, we aren't the product of our genetics, and the fact that, oh, everybody in my family has diabetes, therefore I have diabetes. So with the epigenetics, it's what's around or before. So you can control what genes turn on and what genes turn off based on your lifestyle and your diet, and it changes over time. So your genetics will basically, the components will stay the same, but which genes are being used and which genes aren't can depend on how your body is responding. So I think that anytime we try to take an individual person and mass produce a product to customize to them, we're going to be missing the target often. But I also think it's better than going to the grocery store and just grabbing things off the shelf and trying to guess what your symptoms are as well. So I do believe in that methodology. I use it myself, like I said, with my patients, but we can't just assume that that is all our body is going to need, because even the sourced protein themselves is very important, and where that's coming from, if there's hormones, if there's glyphosate, if the food has the nutritional density, what are the co-modulators, do we need? So there's a lot of other things that go into it as well. So I would say, yes, it's great, but if it doesn't solve all your problems, then there might be some other layers to this problem than what that can simply solve.
I gotcha. I hear you.
Mm.
So, with that being said, do you offer anything that ties all of these pieces, parts together with the nutrition, epigenetics, the nervous system regulation, the behavioral therapy, physical therapy, any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's everything that I do. I'm not a licensed counselor. So I'm not going to be treating people's mental health directly, but I will be helping them find regulation for their nervous system and nutrition to support their brain and habits and the ability to manage and regulate their processes. Now, if they're needing guidance beyond that because of trauma or stress, then of course I would refer to um, a a mental health specialist to be able to help them with that. But I can't say most, but the majority of people's dysregulation in their emotion comes through the dysregulation in their life and the dysregulation in their nervous system. We're addicted to productivity. We simply keep spinning our wheels and spinning in circle and racing forward and bouncing around, not able to slow down enough to be able to feel the discomfort of our reality and move through towards the solutions. And so a lot of it is being able to structure a plan for people so that that process can feel comfortable, easy, and sustainable long term. Otherwise, people take on too much all at once, just waiting for one thing to fail so they can say, see, I knew it wasn't going to work. And then just say, this isn't for me. It's just my genes. This is how life is. The light is reflecting off my window. It's really bright out there. I'm gonna turn around.
Yeah, for sure. So, when you do your approach to somebody, you kind of meet them where they're at. So if somebody has never exercised a day in their life, they come to you and they're saying, I have this, and this, and they don't exercise, they don't eat healthy, where do you start?
Yeah. So what I like to do is have them write down 10 things that they feel would be a healthy thing that they would like to add to their life, and 10 things that they know is unhealthy that they would like to remove from their life. And then we start at the two easiest things, and we work on removing the thing that they could easily remove and adding the healthy thing that they think would be easy to add. For some people, excuse me, that can be a day or an hour or even just a thought. other people, they need some time to really integrate that in their process. And so everybody's journey is exactly perfect for them and what they need. And then we move up the list. We do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And before you know it, they have become a healthy person. They live a healthy lifestyle. It's who they are, emotionally, physically, psychologically, mentally, all of it.
I love that. So, with that being said, I want to kind of drop the ball here and say, or drop the bomb, excuse me, of so we have an event that we have created together that also includes a 7-day gratitude journal, and it's a guided journal. It gives you an exercise in the morning to do to basically start your day right. And we start with the intent of being grateful. So when you start with the mindset of being grateful, it actually sets you up for success. It changes the way that you view your life, how you view things around you, how you view yourself. And it all starts centered around this event. And so it is on May 19th. And we have a time set for 1 to 4. And it's probably going to be about an hour and a half. We'll finalize the details. I will have the link to our tickets in the description of this episode, so that way you can go and buy it. The 7-day journal is included. Anybody who does come to the event, we will also be having the digital copy of our 30-day gratitude journal available to you as well. It retails for 15, but for coming, we will also issue you a discount code. So that way you'll get a couple bucks off. And then once we do actually publish it, the physical 30-day journal, you'll get compensated for that difference. So whatever you paid for the discounted digital version, you'll just pay the difference for the physical journal. And so the event itself, we are going to have a little bit of yoga. It's going to help you relax, re-establish and re-regulate your nervous system. It's going to be more of a yin flow for those of you who are yogis. And we're going to discuss a little bit more of the science behind trauma and what it does to the body. Then we're going to do our guided journal exercise, which is in the 7-day journal. And then we're going to jump into a sound bath where we're also going to have a guided meditation. And so I'll be leading the guided meditation. I'm very excited about that. Nicole's going to be doing some of the sound bathing. She's going to lead the yoga. And we will also have some really amazing gifts for you at the event. And we hope to see you there. And we will also love your feedback on any of it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to be doing this with you and so excited to be offering this to the public, to my friends, to my relatives, my family who might be struggling right now with whatever they might be going through. And shoot, I might probably benefit from it too.
We all can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live in a very dysregulated society. And so just by coexisting and navigating through it, that dysregulation is going to impact us. And so we every day having a really strong relationship with our own routines is so important, and making sure we're always paying attention to make sure that if we have a little extra dysregulation, that we're taking the time to give ourselves a little love and go to these kind of events to come back into our body and out of our head and shine light and love in those areas that are holding that pressure and that tension, and just be okay with not being okay until we're okay.
Yeah, I one of my favorite sayings is it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And for such a long time, I felt like it wasn't okay to break down, to reach out for people and ask for help. And there's such a miserable way to live. I hate to say that, but it really is. It's lonely. and it teaches you that you can't depend on anybody, which isn't true.
Yeah.
There are so many good things and so many good people out there who want to help you and who can help you. And I've been through therapy, I've done all kinds of yoga, I've done healing events, I've met some really cool, very positive, energetic beings, and it's changed my life for sure.
I thought that that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. And the reason that I share pretty much anything that I share is it's not just for me, it's for anybody who needs it, anybody who wants it, anybody who feels they need and crave a change in their life, because why not? If you're not happy with where you're at, take it takes courage to take that first step. And
To be
I
your
want
own hero.
exactly. Yeah. And I want to show people that, it doesn't matter what you've been through. You can ask for help. You can change your circumstances. Doesn't matter if you've been arrested, because I have. It doesn't matter if you've been physically, emotionally, sexually abused, because I have. You get over it, you get through it. It never goes away unless you want it to go away and you actually do things to help it move through you.
I
And
love
you,
the saying, we grow through what we go through.
yes, we do. We absolutely do.
It's a gift to
It
be
is.
able to expand, just like a seed that's planted in the soil. It has to have the pressure inside of the cell that's great enough to fracture it. And then it has to push through the darkness and all the pressure of the ground, not knowing how long and if this is going to be an endless journey until finally it cracks above and gets that sweet, sweet sunlight. And then it has to wait desperately for the rain to renew it, and so on and so forth every day.
Absolutely. And it takes a lot of courage and discipline to keep going.
Mhm.
There's so many people who just give up on their dreams, their goals, their growth, their healing, because it's hard.
It is
But
hard.
another one of my favorite sayings is you choose your hard. Being poor and homeless and living on the streets is hard,
It is.
but so is being an entrepreneur and working your butt off 7 days a week in order to grow and continuously learn. It's a choice. So is
Mhm.
homelessness. I mean, there's certain circumstances that we can't always, navigate around, but there's always a choice.
Mhm.
There's always a choice.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So, with that being said, we had talked a little bit about a conference that you are going to be a part of. Did you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure. There's a couple things. Kind of planning a spiritual one. I was raised, excuse me, I was raised very religious, incredibly conservative, and
Me too.
yeah, and there was a lot of judgment around anything that was outside of this really restricted context. Which was strange for me as a kid because I had all these natural gifts and these knowings and this ability to see, hear, and be part of something that was invisible to most people. And some of the religious community called it, this spiritual gift or that spiritual gift. But uh, what I've discovered with my own research with the nervous system regulation and mirror neurons, and then throwing in the quantum entanglement aspect of it, and how our body, once we're able to get out of our head, which we most often live there when we're sick and full of trauma, because it's just too uncomfortable to be in the body that's holding all of that pain and all that illness, and we're able to heal the body and then move into it. Emotions are energy in motion. It's just a physiological cascade that rolls through our body that our brain interprets. And to feel emotion in your body when you're living in your body is just a beautiful experience. And understanding how spirituality is a complete embodiment and reflection of that. So one of the conventions is that, like, bringing more aspect into helping people find healing modalities or alternatives through that spirituality, whether it be discovery of their own gifts that they've been repressing, that it could be causing dysregulation, or being able to find some intuitive alternatives. The other convention I am doing is up and coming research. So there's doctors, like you said, the genetic, that they're doing genetic testing, customizing post-surgery IVs that are helping with healing, to making sure that they're giving the body all it needs to heal. Doctors that are doing acupuncture instead of anesthesia for some of their surgeries. We have alternatives in the plants over pills industry with our mental health and with our post-traumatic stress and with our neuroregenerative people. And so we're getting all of those guys together with brain tapping and frequency and light therapy and full spectrum light therapy, because we actually need light like plants do in order to fully process our nutrition. And sunglasses, they really aren't that healthy for us. We absorb most of our light through our eyes, and the chemical changes that come into our eyes when we're outside in that full spectrum of sun changes our brain and our body's physiology, just like putting your feet on the ground changes the way that your cells, organelles communicate with each other. And so
Mm.
just being able to help people become their own doctor and being able to have a giant convention full of people like you and me that are just so excited to be able to help people help themselves. And so we're organizing that. We're hoping that we'll have that together this spring.
I love that. I just wanted to throw out a small conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I love those.
So, if you think about it, when do you know when sunglasses were invented?
I have never asked that question.
But okay, so it doesn't matter like when it was invented, but if you think about it, we were born without clothes, we were born without sunglasses.
Mhm.
Our body is designed to absorb the sunlight.
Mhm.
I think that there are obviously all the toxins and stuff that end up in our atmosphere create free radicals, which our body isn't really meant to absorb.
Mhm.
However, we are. And so I think that sunglasses, clothes are just a symptom of the problem. They are trying to protect us from the things that they've caused. And they being like, you know, the top people who, I don't know.
The industries that profit off of illness.
Yes, yes, exactly. And it's and like sunglasses, you have optometry, you have all the sunglass companies, you have glasses companies, and then clothes, you have numerous clothes. I don't even know how many clothing companies there are anymore, but it, just all of this production
Mhm.
it's all in cahoots with the people that make money off of us being sick.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that do have vulnerabilities. People with really light eyes are more sensitive to the sun and they do need shaded, but that can be a baseball hat.
Yeah.
There are people that have a lot less melanin and they don't have a lot of melanocytes. So even if their eyes are seeing the sun and their brain is receiving those chemical communications and their skin is doing its best to produce protection, it just doesn't have enough. And so, but that's just a light shirt covering you. We don't have to use chemicals with a lot of toxic and collagen breaking down things.
A
And we don't
thousand.
have to, yeah, and we don't have to completely block all of that full spectrum light from our eyes because that does affect our mental health and our cellular function and our body's ability to rejuvenate. So, and then clothes, linen has a 5,000 frequency and wool has a 5,000, but they go opposite. So if you wear them together, they cancel each other out. But if you wear synthetic fibers, it actually lowers our frequency and reduces all our cellular function ability.
Mm-hmm.
And even crazier is if you sweat in it, your body is absorbing all of those chemicals as well. And most of them are obesogens and endocrine disruptors. So they're your workout clothes are likely making you fat and um, your immune system slowing down. So bamboo, there's a lot of alternatives like bamboo workout clothes or changing your clothes right away after you work out, not sitting in them because your body can reabsorb those toxins.
I gotcha. As I sit here in a synthetic hoodie.
Yeah, I've got polyester on as well, but I try to keep my undergarments as as natural fiber as I can. And organic cotton is a neutral, so that's always a great one to wear for your undergarments, especially us ladies, because our portals are very absorbent.
Yes, yeah. All right. Well, it was such a pleasure talking with you today, Nicole, and I really hope that my listeners have gleaned a little bit of information as to kind of what we're up to, as well as some helpful tips to get themselves out of a negative spiral or feeling anxious or depressed. So, where can people find you?
Yeah, I do have a website. It's Maddox Wellness Solutions. And always have an email. My email is drnicolemaddox@gmail.com. So try to keep it pretty easy so it's easy to find me. And I always meet people where they're at, like you said. And there's so much abundance in this world. And usually therefore, everybody needs to be able to have the equal energetic exchange, but I will always do my best not to turn anyone away, and meet them where they're at and help them where they are. Yeah, if anyone's ever curious and needs a little bit of guidance or a boost or redirection or a shift in their mindset or an opportunity to meet their highest self and really fall in love with who they are. And with that said, I challenge everyone to take an high integrity accountability to the conversations that they have with themselves about themselves and say, would I ever allow anyone to speak to me that way? And if the answer is no, if you speak to yourself in anything other than mad, passionate, beautiful communication, then your life can't reflect that. So that's the very first place is to change the conversation because your relationship with yourself, you cannot have a relationship externally with any higher value than the one you have with yourself at that level. That's free.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good. That's so good. So I want to end with your final, so this last question. What
Okay.
is what is your favorite affirmation?
Ooh. I do. I'm so thankfuls and gratefuls. And um so those that's probably my favorite affirmation and and I really celebrate the challenges because those are the moments all the as the kunsing I cannot say that kintsugi
Yeah.
experience goes is that I am so grateful for every challenge I've ever had because just like an athlete that's training or a person that believes in themselves or an entrepreneur that's striving, those are our opportunities to expand and to grow. And so I celebrate that. Um, and so the mantras that I have for myself that I personally say is I'm so thankful and grateful for my work life balance, for living life through experiences, and for equal energetic exchange in all aspects of my life. And so that kind of sums it up. And yeah, and I can tell you, as soon as I started to become my own best friend and really romanticizing my life, and being accountable to myself and not allowing anything that doesn't align to that, my life became very quickly effortless and full of abundance pouring in, and miracles are an everyday occurrence. So the magic is real. And
Magic
we
is
start
real.
aging in reverse, which is kind of cool and strange.
Benjamin, got a Benjamin Buttons over here.
Yeah, it's true. It's
All
true.
right. So we can be found for Kintsugi Catalyst on Instagram and Facebook. We have a support group as well as a page on Facebook, and both of them are Kintsugi Catalyst, and I'll spell that out. KINTSUGI, and Catalyst is CATALYST.
Did we explain what that is?
We didn't.
Okay, so what it
Going to.
is that I, when I just felt like I had exploded into so many pieces that there was no way I could ever put myself back together again, I was at an art museum and I saw this amazing piece of pottery that was molded together with gold, and I was fascinated, and I just wanted to learn more. And I found that you can have a beautiful piece of pottery, but its value is actually increased and becomes priceless once it has been damaged and then molded together with beautiful intention in time in gold. And I was like, that's me. I'm that. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to put these pieces back together, but what I do know is that gold is going to be involved, and I'm going to shine so bright that it's going to blind the whole wide world. And so it kind of became my beacon for me to be able to always find my way back to self-love and light and the ability to be connected to something higher than myself, which is always the best way to pull yourself out of a funk.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Thank you for explaining kintsugi. And it is a Japanese technique
Thank you.
that yeah.
What did
Yeah.
I say?
I don't think you
That
said
make up?
Japanese.
Oh, okay.
I think you just talked about, the concept of it. But yeah, so it is a Japanese concept that takes typically ceramic pottery and puts it back together using gold. And we have utilized that concept as us putting ourselves back together.
Mhm.
And we have decided that our events, we call them the Kintsugi Catalyst Experience, because a catalyst it's the jumpstart to a new thing. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a new thing for you, for ourselves, for the world, and for your energy, to help you become your highest self, your most healed, most authentic self, because that's what you deserve,
Yes.
because you're beautiful.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so exactly, you deserve for the world and the universe to love you back tenfold, and it will. Like we live in a reality of contrast, and therefore everything you have experienced, the equal and opposite has to be there. It's the law of the universe. We live in a reality of contrast, so we just have to free our attachment to our old way of being and allow ourselves to be able to receive and open up and align to those things. That's what we're trying to do with this Kintsugi experience, and to catalyze you into becoming your biggest hype girl and guy so that you can elevate yourself to exactly where you want to be.
Yep, that is our mission, and we are heading for it.
Oh, yeah.
So in the description below, there will be Nicole's website, her email, as well as the Kintsugi Catalyst Facebook and Instagram, as well as our event link for you to be able to sign up for that event. There's only 25 spots available because our venue is slightly small. We are hoping to eventually have future events and create bigger, longer, potentially retreats where you can have the nutrition aspect included into the whole event. With that being said, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Nicole. It was such a pleasure talking to you. And for my listeners, I hope you like, subscribe, and share so that anybody who needed to hear this or needed to get a little bit of insight on how to heal themselves is able to find what they're looking for here.
Yeah.
Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you
You
next
too.
time.
Much love.
Bye.
Bye.